Hi, I'm Catherine Pearson, and this is my presentation on classroom organizational structures for a pre-K kindergarten classroom. So some of the expectations that are in the kindergarten classroom that I spend time working in are listen to the speaker, raise your hand to speak, be honest, and be kind. And these expectations are developmentally appropriate for the 4 and 5 year olds because they support just their growing social emotional learning needs. At this age, they're learning how to be a part of a classroom community, and these roles are short and clear and help just allow them to practice just that, being a part of a classroom community. Um, for listen to the speaker, young children at this age are still developing their attention and impulse control. So this rule just reinforces pausing and looking and listening to the speaker, whether that be the teacher or another classmate. Raise your hand to speak. Children at this age are still learning how to take turns, and they don't naturally usually wait to begin talking. So this rule helps just give them a concrete cue for when it's their turn to talk. Be honest. Kids are still learning the difference between pretend play and imagination and speaking the truth. So this rule just encourages honesty and helps build trust between the children and the teachers. And then be kind. We say we're in kindergarten. Kindness is really at the center of social emotional learning and development at this age, and so this rule just encourages empathy and noticing how others are feeling. In the classroom, the student to teacher ratio is about 15 students to 2 teachers. There's one lead teacher, one assistant teacher, and then oftentimes there are specialist teachers that will rotate in and out of the rooms, whether that is a math specialist, a literacy and language specialist, or our educational therapist will sometimes pop in. Some of the expectations for play and other routines in the classroom include helping others, sharing the resources, listening, and taking care of those resources. And apart from the rules and expectations, the students also have some rights that they discuss with their teacher. And the kindergarten rights of helping others, sharing resources, listening, and taking care of the materials directly support their play and daily routines because it really helps create a cooperative and respectful classroom community. When the children help each other and they learn to share, they're really able to engage in play that is more collaborative and imaginative and not centered around conflict or competing with one another. Listening during instructional times and group work really helps the transitions run smoothly and helps children to just know what to expect. And then, of course, taking care of classroom resources is very important and make sure that the materials are available for everybody, which can help promote their independence and responsibility. So yeah, altogether, these rights help the kids feel safe and included and just ready to participate fully. And something that I just really enjoy about this teacher's classroom is that while the expectations she have kind of is what she as the teacher asks the students to do to help the class run smoothly, the rights of the students are what the kids deserve just because they're there. These kindergarten rights don't have to be earned. The kids just deserve them. The age appropriateness of these expectations, I believe they are very age appropriate. The kids are still developing in their social skills, their emotional regulation, and building their empathy. So these expectations are very just appropriate for where they're at. And they do help create just a safe and predictable environment for the children where they, learn what is typical behavior and what is appropriate to do and to not do, such as taking turns and using their words. And when the expectations are aligned with where the kids are at in their development, the teachers can really help them build empathy and how they cooperate with others and just how to be a responsible student in the classroom at this age. And the expectations link to several of the ELOF domains in approaches to learning. It connects because the expectations strengthen are strengthened as children must cooperate, problem solve, self-regulate, and initiate play. They support and link to social emotional development because lots of social emotional learning through engaging relationships with the adults and peers in the classroom by recognizing emotions and developing a sense of identity and belonging. The expectations linked to language and literacy because language is fostered through listening to adults and their classmates, using words to express needs, and engaging in conversations during play. And it links to cognition as the expectations are reinforced through play as children share the resources, organize them, use their imaginations, and engage in play, and really just explore how things work while also being cautious. Improvements, I would say just using even more child-friendly language. So instead, saying we take care of our friends, or we use kind words instead of just help others. So that helps because children are still developing their vocabulary, and the simple words can help remember them or help them remember what to do. And also just more pictures and cue cards of actual children can be beneficial and help give children a reminder without the adults needing to do the prompting. Because language that's paired with consistent visuals can really help support their independence, which can reduce their stress in the classroom and just ability to successfully follow the expectations. The way the expectations are communicated, I would say through just very clear and consistently. Lots of teacher modeling the behaviors and using child-friendly language. So some examples saying like, watch how I stack the blocks gently, so everyone stays safe, can really help demonstrate to the children the why behind the behaviors. And also just some positive reinforcement and redirection language helps the children know when they're meeting the expectations or when their behavior might need a little guidance. And for example, I notice how you are waiting for your turn so calmly, or saying the blocks are for building in case students are using them inappropriately. Just those positive reinforcements and slight redirections can really help children just understand what the expectation is. Some suggestions for improving communication. I think we do a great job, but just some more visuals with the schedule, some pictures to go along with the words are really helpful. Using descriptive praise to acknowledge behavior helps children just understand just more effectively what they're doing right, what action they're doing right. Planning for transitions is really important as it gives them just some time to process what's happening and what's going to be expected. And then providing individualized support for students with ongoing communication challenges, offering some just tailored interventions that address their specific needs can be very helpful for improving communication. The expectations, and they're tied to just cultural and family values, I think are the classroom expectations really encourage the children to help others and to take turns when playing and focus on listening and respect and care. Those values, I think, are very shared amongst families. They're rooted in community, kindness, and respect. And I believe a lot of the families hold those values just like we do as teachers. So I do believe that our expectations are aligned with our families. Lastly, just my reflection, I do believe that our classroom is positive and predictable and an overall successful learning environment. There are clear expectations and simple rules that help the children just know what to do and what will happen throughout the day. The predictability and consistency helps children feel calm and safe and just prepared to learn at school. Support relationships and interactions. The expectations about being kind and listening to the speaker help children just learn how to form relationships with others, whether that be their classmates or their teachers or other adults in the school. Positive reinforcement and gentle redirections can really go a long way and help children understand why they should be doing things. And just that all behavior is communication. I found that message to be very impactful because it's really important just to consider children's needs, their cultural backgrounds, their prior experiences, and by listening and understanding the behavior behind or what they're trying to communicate behind the behavior is really important to building trusting relationships with students and authentic relationships with the families. And I do believe the classroom reduces stress and promotes safety because the rules are just rooted in safety, both physical and emotional safety. The shared routines help reduce any confusion and anxiety because the children they know what to expect and how to be in the classroom. When the children do enter the classroom and they understand the environment and they can access the materials independently, it can lead just to lower stress and just a greater sense of belonging and sense of safety in the classroom. And here are my references. Thank you so much for listening.